Hi, and welcome to JJ's Appliques.
And bows and clothes.
We're here today to talk about getting the best cut for making hooded towels out of a fast dry bath towel. This is from Target. It's a Room Essentials. It is 30 by 54.
It also tells you the color, which is fantastic. If you want to check and see if they have them still, you can actually ask at the store and compare to make sure. You don't have to try to remember. It was a dark-ish kind of gray, kind of brown. It tells you right on it what color it comes in.
And we're here to talk about the difference in getting a cut out of a standard towel that has the, what is that, embossed?
The decorative stripe thing where, yeah, embossed, however you want to call that thing there.
And a plain,
totally smooth towel like this. Most of these fast dry ones from Target have no striping of any sort, which means these edges are sealed, binded, finished, whatever you want to call it, so they don't fray, which means you can use this part of the towel for your hooded towel. You can use that end down there as your hooded towel, and then these sections in between, you can use all of this to be able to get a hooded towel, and you just have this one little section in the middle, which, don't worry, we'll show you what to do with that later too.
So now we're going to show you how to cut 4 hoods out of this towel and have the space that's left over in the middle. We're going to show you how to make a cute little wash mitt. So, Adrienne?
All right, here we go. We're starting from this end. We like our hoods 10 by 30. It's big enough for adults, still big enough for teens. It's not terrible for kids. It's a little big. Kids don't mind. My kids like them over their eyes so they can't see and run into walls because I have nut children. So we're going to start here. We have 10 from the end. And I'm going to make a little cut right there. And then I'm going to go to this side. And I'm going to go from here to 10. And ignore my sink. The only place we have big enough is my kitchen island. So you use what you can. I got this ruler sticky thing. It's metal-ish, I think. I'm pretty sure I got the metal one. From Lowe's for like $8. It's fantastic. If you have real quilting things, those are even better. So I'm just going to put this down. It can be 10 1/4, 10 1/2. I wouldn't get past 11 because then it does get cut quite a bit off like that. But I just find this easiest to use my little sticky thing. There's a 10-inch. We're gonna come in and do this on the other side also. And this is, again, because we have these fast dry ones. Come on, scissors. Haha. Alrighty. We now have 2 that have your binded edge that are perfect for hooded towels. So now we have this section. This has the thinner edge, totally works great. This ends up being from here to here, 33 inches. So, oopsie, I'm going to just cut off this little bit. Again, because we're aiming for 30 inches. If it's 28 inches or 32 inches or even the 33, it doesn't matter. You're gonna wanna make them as universal as you can so that people know how big they are if you sell them especially. But when you buy them from Target or Walmart or the Disney store or wherever, you don't really know exactly. They're all kind of different. And then we're gonna go this way. And again, we're gonna do the same thing. There's my 10. I'm gonna switch you over here and get my 10. And now I'm gonna do the same thing. There's my mark. All right, there is hood 4.
No, that's 3.
Sorry, 3, yep. Sorry, counting skills are a little sketchy. Now we're going this way, and I just flipped it around because I need the seam closer to me because I can't reach over. I'm gonna make my 10 mark. You will go this way. There to there, right there to right here. Now there are people, Mommy is one of them, I am not, that are really good at this, and they will then take this piece and another one of this piece, and they will stitch them together so you have a lined hood, and then use this fold. I am not that person. I have my 4 over there. This one, we're gonna come back and show you how to make a bath mitt shortly after this.
Now that we have our middle piece that's left over from cutting out the 4 hoods, we're going to make a wash mitt, and in this example, we will be making an adult size wash mitt.
We went ahead and cut our liner pieces. You need 2 liners and 2 pieces of this. We cut our liner pieces ahead of time on the rotary cutter. It is just easier. Your pieces need to be 1 inch bigger each direction than whatever mitt you're making. They'll come in 3 sizes. So you can have the little kiddos, the big kiddos, and an adult. So ours is 8 inches wide and it's 9.5 inches tall. And so this makes it easy. I'm just going to set it on top right here and cut straight up. And then I'm gonna take this again. And this does not have to be exact or perfectly cut, because this goes to your embroidery machine and it gets stitched and trimmed, and it will not matter hugely. So we cut these off, and now we have both of these. This, because I'm gonna make a specific kind, will have puppy ears. We will use this for the ears that are the 3D. Depends on what you're making, if you need it or not. If you're going to not do a 3D one, this is probably enough to make a kid size or the toddler size also. You could get a second one. But for our example, just like this, and we are ready to go to the design on the machine.
Our next step is to make a finished seam for the mitt, having the right sides of the fabric and the towel together. Take it to the machine. We'll have a universal designs that will stitch an alignment stitch. With the edges even at the top, we'll stitch the...
We're just overlapping it by 1/4 to 1/2 inch at the most. Don't get too wild, otherwise your mitt won't be long enough. Notice it didn't go to the edges. That's fine. We cut it wider than it actually needs to be because we wanted to be positive that we had enough room. The last thing we want to do is ruin our towel. So now we're just going to shove this to the back of our hoop. So now it's doing the bottom one. Just so we're not wasting stabilizer, we have it set to both. And just like before, this one I'm just going to put this way and just hold it simply because I can. It is just barely over the line, as you can see. Since it's just a straight stitch, you don't have a way where you have to go this direction, put it on this way of the hoop, whichever is convenient. And for me right now, this works easier than trying to tuck it back behind. And we use tearaway stabilizer right here. So you're going to be able to tear it away. You want to either use tearaway, or if you want to be super fancy and not have to tear it, you can use the water soluble, but don't get the topper kind. You have to use the super expensive kind that's for whole like freestanding lace. It's really pricey. I would just use tearaway. There's no problems with it. So that step is done. We're going to take it off. So we've torn these off of our stabilizer. Here's our seams. Now we just turn them right side in. You can trim this down if you want it, you know, your seam down if you want it absolutely perfect. I don't care that much. It's on the inside. And this is what you will do to line up in your wash mitt. Now you have 2 pieces. This will be on the inside, and we're ready for the next step. So here we are. We are working on the next piece. These are going to be my 3D ears. Not all designs will have 3D. Some will just have embroidery on it. However, because I want to be fancy and make a cute little puppy today, we are doing 3D. Step 1 is the outline of where to place your thumb. Step 2, I have my towel. Wrong side, right side. I will fold this in half just because that's how much I have.
With the right sides in?
Right sides are together. And make sure that this covers. Does it cover all the way down here? It does. So then I'm going to stitch the next step. You can see these are right together. I will stitch step 2. And notice it leaves that opening there. That's so you can turn them right side out after it is finished stitching and you remove stabilizer. We'll take this off. Come right over here. Pop that out. Turn mine over. Tear away my stabilizer. I like to leave my stabilizer in between it for now, like in between my stitches, so that I can see where it's stitched. Because if you have it all bad eyesight and you use coordinating thread, which I would suggest, that's a good plan, you are going to have a hard time seeing where these little stitches are. So then I can use this to cut out a little bit around them to here, just a little outside there. And now I can remove the rest of this. And then we will turn this right side out. I'll start with my finger all the way in there. Poke it all the way through. And now we have a puppy ear. We'll do the same thing for the next one.
We have our design loaded to stitch the puppy design onto the front of the wash mitt. The first step stitches the outline.
Now we're going to place this on top. These need to be lined up.
With the lining on the bottom.
Lining is flat, right against up to the line. Don't cross your line because it won't go any further that direction. It'll stop the stitching right here. So you can see right here, go right to the line. Again, don't pass it. Now, if you want to sticky spray it, or if you want to pin it, however it is that you're more comfortable doing it, up to you. I'm not really one of those. Then I'm going to put wash away on top of it, because wash away will keep you from cutting your little loopies of your towel. Depending on what design you have, this will all be different. It might not be applique, it might not be fill, it might be just monogram, however it is, whatever it is that you want to do. For us, we're doing this one. So we have our little applique piece. We cut a nice size piece of waste right there. We'll do the tack down. If you really like wash away stabilizer, you can then put it over the top here, or just let it go like this. And then I'm going to take it off and trim. I'm going to cut as closely as I can. These are my favorite scissors. These are the Kai 5.5 inch. They are thicker than your standard Kai curved scissors. I recommend them to everyone. If you're going to Sew Magical, there's a couple vendors that have them there. I am going. Mommy is going. And the evil twin is going. Next step. Puppy's little muzzle. Right, like that. Cover. And I'm going to put wash away over this one because that's a lot of furry on there. Normally I would use a coordinating thread color, but I want you to be able to see what I'm actually cutting, and I like to see what I'm cutting too. So we use black on this mostly for the video. Take this off. Back to my little cutting. Do not cut the bottom one. This is some sort of furry stuff that we got at Joann's. I'm not sure how long ago, but it was a while. And I love furry. I use it as often as possible. I'm sure there's lots of people that would use vinyl on this sort of thing and want their kids to use the back of the wash mitt. All right, we have finished cutting this out. Now we are going back to our machine because next will be our cute little nose. So now we're going to put our right side there, yep. I'm gonna put our piece of wash away over it, and we're gonna stitch the next step. I'm gonna take it off. We're gonna come over here, and we will cut this out. This is really thick fur. So there we go. I'm going to clean this up just a second. I'll be back in a moment. Now we're starting all of the applique stitches where it satin stitches over. And this is going to run for quite some time, so we'll speed this up through the video. And we'll be back when this has finished, and we'll move on to the next step.
The next step is the placement stitching for the ears.
You want your ears going out like this, assuming, but you could also want one going this way or both going up, however you want them. This is the most traditional common way. So you want them opposite of how you're going. So when you fold them out, when you turn it right side out, they stick up the right way. So we want this line just over the edge right here. You can see it under there. And we're gonna stitch it. You probably wanna tape this down. I wouldn't hold it like this. That's not safe. And then it'll move to this one. Again, use tape. Don't hold it. It's completely not safe. You should not be doing this. Off the machine, right sides together, so our towel to towel, and we are going to want to line this up right at the beginning of where this piece starts, so end to ends like this. We do not want to get puppy's little ears in the stitching, so I'm going to just flip those in. You can tape them if you want, and put this on top and go back to the machine. So we're at the machine. We're going to stitch our last step. Goes backwards a little bit to make sure that it's good. All the way up. Remember, this is really bulky, so you want to keep your hands out of the way, but you want to make sure that it stays down too. If your preference is tape, that's great. Or if you want to hold it with tweezers or keep your hands back while it's stitching, just guide it along so nothing flips up in the path, however you're comfortable with doing it. It gets especially bulky up here where you have your ears. Make sure your machine can go through it. If you have a single needle, you're going to need to pay attention and know your machine so that you can be sure that it won't get stuck on your foot. Again, the other ear is over here for most designs. There might be a few that we're going to make in the future, but for this one for sure it has the ears right there. Now it's going to get down to the bottom. Keep your fingers away. I know on my machine I can touch it back here. It's not going to get me. Keep your fingers back. Make sure you're safe. It goes to there. And now it's doing this little kind of a V-stitch zigzag that is going to go around it outside of your straight stitch. That's going to make sure that when you trim your fabric, since this is terry cloth, that it's not going to fray all over the place. When you trim, you still want to make sure you don't get too close to that. Leave a good quarter to maybe even a half an inch if you want to be super safe to make sure that it doesn't fray off. But this is really going to help it not fray when you turn it right side out. I'm going to move in right here just to keep this back because you can see I wasn't paying attention. Caught it a little bit right there. Again, this is where tape is super helpful. This cotton here because it's kind of thin to flip up as it's stitching. If you taped it, you're good to go. You use tweezers to make sure your hands stay out of the way, just keeping it down. Goes to the bottom and comes back up. That way your tie off doesn't have a pressure point where you're pulling on it. So we've taken it off our hoop. We're going to tear away all of our stabilizer. You'll do a better job than I'm doing just because I'm doing it quick for the video. Now we're going to cut about this far outside of our lines, all the way around. Will give us a nice wide seam as we are turning this right side out, so this won't fray. If you get little frays off it, that's okay. You can trim them up later. All right, to turn puppy right side out. I'm going to tear away all of his extras. Here's his little cute ears. And this is the adult size. He is a big guy. Can tear this away. You can see on my big pudgy arm, not a problem. I can spread my hand fairly well out inside of it. He is totally made adult size. And he is ready to go.
All right, thanks so much for joining us on this tutorial from JJ's Appliques
and Bows and Clothes.
See you
Bye,
next
guys.
time.